Good afternoon, and welcome to today's VetNet Entrepreneurship Track Hangout entitled VWise Venture Pitch Development. My name is Michael Shenik, and I'm the Program Manager for VetNet and Boots to Business here at the Institute for Veterans and Military Families located on the campus of Syracuse University. Before we get started, a few housekeeping notes. If you're participating live in the Hangout, please feel free to speak up and ask your question at any time. You can also enact the chat function by hovering over the left side of your screen and clicking the chat icon. A box will open up on the right side of your screen, and you can type your question there. If you are watching now on YouTube, please feel free to type your question in the comment box, and we will relay it to the presenter. And finally, you can always type your question out on the Google Plus event page. Today, Mirza Dehich, Director of Program Support Services here at the Institute for Veterans and Military Families, will be talking about perfecting the 90-second pitch. So I will turn things over to Mirza right now and let him get started.
Fantastic. Thank you, Mike, and thanks everybody for joining us today. As Mike said, we're going to talk about the 90 seconds pitch, or also known the elevator pitch. For the ladies participating in the VWise conference, this is an awesome opportunity to win some prize money. And if you have any questions on that, please contact our VWise team as soon as possible to make sure to be part of this excellent and great opportunity. So let's start with our pitch. The next slide is really why the pitch, why make the pitch, and what's the goal of the pitch. The pitch is typically you're pitching it to somebody, to an audience, but you want to convince them that they should either invest in your business, they should be part of your business, they should collaborate with your business or your idea. So the goal is to convince and convey what is your business about and why this person should listen to you and maybe follow up, meet with you, and potentially invest, participate, join your team, and so on. So you have to be also aware of who your audience is. Depending who your audience is, if your audience is investors, you have to be aware of who the investor is, how they invest, and what are some of the key things that you have to mention to the investors. If it's a supplier, what do you do to grab their attention so they'll be willing and able to listen more? And really all this, it needs preparation. You need to be prepared. If you don't know who your audience is, the chances of you being successful might be lower. You can think on your feet, but it's always better to be prepared, because they say luck is preparation, meeting opportunity. So you have to be prepared to meet that opportunity once you're with somebody in the elevator, to tell them, hey, I want you to listen, I have a cool opportunity, please give me 90 seconds and you can go ahead and do it. And today we'll cover really what it means to do this. So next slide is really what is most important. The most important part in the venture pitch, or 90-second pitch, is the people, really, people. It is the people who are listening, and is the person also pitching the idea. So it's really important that you present yourself professionally, that you know what you've done. So when I mentioned before, what's your goal? Know what your goal is. Know who your audience is, because those are the people. And also preparation. Be prepared. Know what you cannot say to that audience. So going to the next slide, really, a person that somebody will listen to, you have to show that you have integrity. You have to have passion as an entrepreneur, which is the next one. You have to present that you have great experiences. All these things play a role in developing your pitch. You also have to present yourself as a knowledgeable person, that you show that you have done research. And sometimes you ask yourself, how can I show that I have integrity, passion, experience, knowledge? It all takes a skill, right? And you have to have skills, and you have to present that you have the skills, and just the ability to do a venture pitch shows that you have the skill, which is the next point here. You have to be able to show leadership skills, traits of leadership. You have to show commitment, that you committed to this idea that you want trying to pursue. You have to have a vision. You have to be visionary, because all these things, even if you not cover them all in a venture pitch, all of these will be visible in you depending on how you present yourself and how you pursue this opportunity. Then you have to be realistic. Do not do something that's not realistic. Do not tell fairy tales to your person listening. Going back to the what's your goal, who is the audience? Because the audience, if it's investors, they want to see that you're realistic. They don't want to hear fairy tales. They want to hear real numbers. And even if there are some weaknesses that you have, this is fine. As an entrepreneur, you want to be coachable. So all these things, you see integrity, passion, experience, knowledge, skill, leadership, commitment, vision, realistic reality, and coachability. All those are some traits of all those traits of entrepreneurs, and even if they don't have them, some of them can be trained. and this is something that investors would like to see when you pitch it. So let's go to next slide. What else? Something that's really, really important is this concept, we call it KISSES, which stands for keep it smooth, strong evidence, and simple. Keep it smooth, strong evidence, and simple. And same thing is with when you do a venture pitch. It is really important that you keep it smooth, strong evidence, and simple. Make it flow, make it consistent, make it go from one topic to another without inconsistencies. Provide some evidence, strong evidence that will show your points that, look, there's a cool opportunity, here's why. So many products have been sold last 5 years and we can grow it. And keep it simple. Do not tell long stories. Keep it simple. Keep it clear. Be clear about what you're trying to do, what you're trying to communicate, and what you're expecting to get back from that person listening. So the pitch, it should be professional, it should be simple, it should be consistent. And as you can see, all my slides are really simple, 3 or 4 bullet points, simple, just as a presentation should be. And this example, actually going to the next slide, is from Steve Jobs. I highly recommend looking at his pitches, what he has done, a lot of them on our YouTube. He keeps it very simple. He keeps it simple and direct. He tells about the opportunity, how he's going to exploit it, and how he looks to move forward. Very simple. And that's how your venture pitch should be. And we actually have broken it down in 6 steps, and I want to go over those 6 steps with you, how to master the 90-second pitch. First one is, of course, introduction and wow. Within the first 15 seconds is that where you want to wow your audience. You want to delight them, and you want to make them itch for more. That you want to ask them, like, okay, so I want to hear more. What's going on? So, and a typical example of this is, hey, my name is Mirza. I'm from company X, Y, and Z. And then you give that opening wow statement. Take a stand on something. Make a judgment call, or give a great customer story. Right? Hey, I know this. What example can I give you? You know, how many times you go to barbershop and you weren't happy? Well, I had this cool solution that you don't have to wait. It takes you only 5 minutes to get a haircut. You look better than Mike Shanek. These are just some examples of how you can use, which doesn't exist, but I just give you an example of how you can wow people. And I'm using Mike, for example. It wouldn't be relevant if I wasn't pitching to, let's say, somebody from our team who actually knows Mike. So if you use names or examples, make sure that the audience that you're pitching to knows it's relevant information. That's why I mentioned previously, know who your audience is and what your goal is. So introduction and the wow factor, something that makes them remember you. The next one is really the value proposition, the problem we solve for the customer is, and you quantify the customer pain and the gain. Right? I'm going to resolve the waiting time at the barbershop. This is an example. Or I'm going to develop an app that will provide you the best haircut in the city for only $1.99, or whatever it is. So you have to show what the problem is that you're solving for the customers, and you want to quantify it in numbers as well as dollars, possibly, if possible. Then unique proposition. What is so unique about your product or service that nobody else can do or is not able to do it right now? What makes us different? Include comparisons to substitute products, including doing nothing. So what makes us cool is it's free app, available anytime, anywhere, allowing you to get haircut within 24 hours or something like that. And just an example. Or unique proposition of VetNet. It is a online platform making educational or entrepreneurship educational tools available to anybody, anywhere around the world, anytime. So that's unique. Nobody else provides these. And we also have a library of resources available to you, which you can always follow up and actually reach out to the instructors to get follow-up questions and discussions. So value proposition is we solving. Let me go back. Sorry, but since I use the VetNet as example, right? The problem we solve for the customer is we are providing free online entrepreneurship training resources. What makes us different? It's online. It's available anytime, anywhere, and you can also participate live in the chat room with the instructors and professors. On top of that, you can ask follow-up questions even after the live webinar is over, which moves us to the next step. The next slide, please, which is the target market. Right, so you talked about the introduction, you gave us the wow factor, you talk about, look, this is a solution, and this is what's unique about solution, and next thing is you have to convince your listener that there is a market, that there are people that there are ideal customers, that they exist. You want to show the size, you want to show revenue, where they exist, what sector they're in. So you want to show that there is a group of individuals or businesses, or both of them, that are willing and able to buy your products, and it's economically feasible. And then the case study proof, one of our customers, you give an example and be specific with the names and quantify the gain. You want to prove that, look, not only do these customers exist, but we know some of them, and here's an example. Which leads us to the next slide, which is the final slide, really, or the final point you want to stress, is the numbers. The company projects gross revenue of whatever that is by year. So you can say we project gross revenue of 5 million by the end of year 3. You want to share your gross sales, your profit, the ask, the exit strategy, and return. Share some, if you already have existing numbers, share how much you have sold so far, how many customers, how much have you been growing in the last 5 months, 6 months, last year. So anything you can show, and any tangible numbers you already have, show those, and in any projection also explain it. So you're talking about, just kind of to summarize it, you wow them, right? You get their attention in the first one, and you talk about the problem and solution that you have for that problem. You show how unique that solution that you have is. Then you show that there's a market, and the market is this big, and you use some evidence that your market actually is buying, willing and able to buy from you. And then you summarize the opportunity in numbers, showing that there is a return for you at the end. This is 90 seconds, right? There's so much more of a business plan. Michelle, can I help? Good. I apologize for this. So once you have this, hopefully this will open doors for further questions with your audience, whoever that audience is. Now you can continue and say, okay, now I want to see a business plan, or I would like to make a formal presentation to you. So, but the 90 seconds pitch is the opening of a door to get the foot in the door with investors, with potential partners, even family members. When you sit at the Thanksgiving dinner and you have all your family around, and your uncle wants to learn more about it, and everybody else says, shut up, you've been talking about the business all the time, say, please give me 90 seconds, and this is a pitch you can also do at the dinner table. And of course, for all VWise participants, you will have the opportunity to do the 90-second pitch and send it to us, and do it also during the VWise National Business Plan National Conference in San Antonio. Next slide, please. So some recommendations for you as you do your pitch. First of all, right, remember your audience, and because of who your audience is, you should also look professional, act, and be professional. Then use remote control if you're presenting anything. Dress appropriately. For the audience, use control. If you have any financials that you think would be helpful, hand them out, but don't hand them out when you pitch. Once you're done with your pitch, you can hand them to the person and say, look, here's some more detail about information I talked to you, such as financials, to show them, look, this is lucrative business. And do not read your speech or your pitch. Do not stand up there and talk to them or say, oh, 1 second, please. And then you pull out the paper and you kind of read it to them. It doesn't look professional, even when you pitch in front of your audience, as you will have at the VWise National Conference. Do not read it. Be yourself. Pitch it. Keep it simple. Keep it smooth and simple and consistent. And the final recommendation is never look at the screen if you have anything behind you. If you're presenting something, most of the time you shouldn't be, but if you present something behind you, do not look at the screen, either in front of you, behind you. Same thing with the notes. Tell the story. Tell it. Be yourself. That said, I'll open up if there's any questions about the pitch, 90-second pitch. And I felt I was doing a 90-second pitch because I was rushing, and maybe I shouldn't have.
We will allow it. Oh, go ahead.
But just to, again, kind of summarize, the key is be yourself, be professional, know who your audience is. So once you're pitching at the VWise National Competition, your audience will most likely be entrepreneurs, angel investors, bankers, people who have invested money. So you're pitching to somebody who might be willing and able to invest money to a business. This could be the same pitch that you can give to the 3 Fs, the family, friends, and fools, who might be willing and able to invest in you, angel investors, bankers, or anybody else who is thinking to joining your team or want to see really that there is opportunity. And first start with a wow factor, make them connect with you, make them aware about what you're trying to do, and by how you do this is providing some related experiences. Ask a question, did you know such and such? Right? Makes them, oh, I didn't think about it. So you want to relate it to them. Since you know the audience, you have to find something that they can also all have some relevant experience themselves. If they have a relevant experience themselves, the more likely they'll be willing and able to listen to it. Once you created awareness, you lock them in, the attention is on you, first 15 seconds. Next 15 to 30 seconds, you talk about the problem, and then you talk about the solution, how you're going to solve it, and you want to explain what is so unique about you, right? Because there's many similar solutions to yours, but what is it really that makes yours so unique, so different, and that nobody else really can replicate it? Why should you be the one they should invest and not somebody else? Then you want to show them, look, this is not only cool opportunity, not only cool solution, and I'm not the only, not only am I so cool that I can exploit this opportunity, but also know how big the market is, and this is the market I'm targeting, this is the size, and here's some information from my potential market or my target customers, or some testimonials from my customers that maybe been using your product or service. And finally, you want to summarize this opportunity in numbers, showing, if you invest and give me 100,000, we can expect rate of return of 35% over the next 5 years with gross sales of 5 million. So you want to also quantify that success, and maybe even talk about what you want to give them back. Once you do this is a 90-second venture pitch. Then you allow them to ask questions, depending again who it is. At VWise National Conference, you won't be asked questions. But if you're in an elevator with angel investors, they might be following up with you. Say, here's my business card, reach out to me, and then typically then you want to send an executive summary, which is a requirement also to be part of the VWise Venture Pitch competition. That said, I'll open up for any questions that you might have.
Mirza, we are going to just give it a second. There was just an error on the tech side of things, setting it up. It was run out of the wrong event. So we are getting the invitation and the link to the women who were posting on the Google Plus page. So let's give them a few minutes just to join in here.
Sure, sounds good. Wanda, how's it going?
Great. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, wow. It's going good. I've had a lot of changes since there in Syracuse, but it's going good. I did a venture pitch once with Sandra's group,
yeah.
And so I have a little insight into doing it, and I want to tweak the one I'm working on now. So
awesome.
Yeah. So are you open for questions? I just kind of logged in, so I missed the upfront part.
Yes, we are open up for questions. I just finished.
Okay, so I'm specifically interested in, you just finished what?
I just finished the overview of mastering the 90-second pitch, which was about 12 slides, quickly going through. And as I just summarized, I said you start with an introduction and the wow factor, telling your name and explaining where you're from. And then you take a stand on something, or make a judgment call, or give a customer story, anything that kind of raises awareness and creates the wow factor or effect to the listener. Then you talk about the problem and the solution. What's the value you're creating? Then you talk about next 15 seconds. You talk about uniqueness of that product or service. What makes you different? Comparing yourself maybe to competitors or their products and services. Then next 15 seconds, you want to elaborate about your ideal customers, who they are, how many of them there are, and then after that, you do kind of, we call a case study proof, saying one of our customers, give an example, likes this or said about this or use this and is buying more or keeps buying. And then at the end, you want to summarize your presentation with numbers, with the financials, saying how much you're asking for and what that, let's say $100,000 if you ask for, what does it allow you to do, and what return can I, if I'm your audience, expect to see next 3 or 5 years and based on what gross sales you will have. And then I summarized, kind of said, look, dress appropriately, know who your audience is, be professional, don't give any handouts while you pitch. Maybe give some handouts afterwards, and you can give an executive summary afterwards or financials. If case the listener wants to follow up with you. Do not read your pitch. Be yourself. Be yourself. And as I said in the beginning, we use this term called KISSES, Kisses, which stands for keep it smooth, strong evidence, and simple. Right? Meaning, be consistent as you present your present your pitch. Be smooth. Be consistent. Provide evidence. And don't just tell fairy tales. Be realistic, and keep it very simple, to the point.
Good, thank you. Yes, I was specifically interested in the ask portion, maybe understanding or hearing an example of how you would present that information.
First, it depends who your audience is and what you're asking them for, right? If you come to me and let's say in this pitch competition, you're competing for $20,000 to say, the $20,000 today will allow me to do X, Y, and Z, and with these funds, I'll be able to raise additional 100,000 to expect my projected sales in year 5 of 5 million.
Okay. And
or if you go to, let's say, you go to, I don't know if you know this guy, Mike Shenek and Jim Powers.
Yes.
Go to them and say, look, Jim and Mike, if you give me $250,000, this is all I need to start my business, and I will be able to do X, Y, Z, which will result in gross sales of 10 million, and you'll be able to get back 35% annual return plus equity, 20% equity in my business. So whatever it is, whatever you have done in your business plan, you want to identify that here. But just be succinct, direct to the point. What you're asking, what you're asking for, how you're going to spend it, and how you're going to return it back.
Okay, great, thank you.
Great question. Any other questions? We have Medina and Lawanda.
If no one else is ready for a question, I did have another question about the, let's see, how to explain how to speak to the market share that you're capturing.
So the market share is really who is your ideal customer and how many of them are there. So first you have to know how big your market size is, and the market share, how much you're going to capture, should be related to your financials. If you say I'm going to hit 5 million gross sales in year 5, you can, and that kind of translates, okay, if per person I'm going to sell $100, so let's say $1,000 I'm going to make per person, per customer, then my market share is, I will reach 100,000 people, so that's amongst 1 million, so you're getting 1% of market share. So you have to know first how big is the market, and then based on your sales, you can kind of predict, okay, I'm going to capture so much market share.
So I know we're talking about the pitch, and I've been working on my business plan with that information. I pulled most of that from my report, my IBIS report, and then some other research I've done outside of that online and things like that. So I'm not confident in those numbers, for example, but I have the information. I'm trying to figure out how to translate it. And I don't know how accurate it is. I have figures from the report. I have figures from online. Am I doing an estimation, the best guess I can? Or is there somewhere, I guess, that I can get more accurate information?
You can say based on IBIS report, the market size is $100 million.
Okay.
And I plan to capture within the next 5 years. I plan to capture 1% of that market share.
Okay.
I plan to have 1% market share.
Okay.
It gives you credibility. It keeps it simple, straight to the point, right? It's relevant. So according to IBIS report, or according to XYZ, the market size is $100 million, or $1 billion, and I plan to capture 1% of that market. I plan to capture 0.5% of the market.
Okay.
whatever your numbers are for the next 5 years.
Okay. Okay. That is what I needed. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Mirza, it might be beneficial if we just quickly bring the slides up again and just put them up on the screen and just have Jim click through. So
Yeah.
for Belinda and Medina and whomever else maybe just jumping on, they can just see what you did go through. So Jim, if we could just do that quickly.
Let's go from beginning, Jim, please. And just a reminder that we will have office hours on Thursday, oh sorry, next Tuesday and the following week Tuesday. So the next 2 weeks we will have live office hours. You can tune in and ask us any questions related to venture pitch or anything else you have regarding business plan regarding this VBIS National Conference. We will send reminders out, so same time next 2 weeks, so every Tuesday for the next 2 weeks prior to the deadline, submission deadline for VBIS National Competition. So Jim is sharing the slides with you. So the idea was, why do a pitch? Right? You have to have a goal. What are you trying to accomplish with the pitch? Know your audience and be prepared. The key really is knowing audience and what do you want to get out of that pitch, whoever your audience is. So here at the VBIS National Conference, you want to win the business plan competition, and your audience will be the judges, who are entrepreneurs, business owners, angel investors, and the rest of the audience are VBIS participants, so also entrepreneurs. So really, your audience are like-minded individuals, and you have to be prepared. And this outline you're using here helps you be prepared, because this is what they're kind of expecting in that venture pitch. The next slide talks what is important, and really important is I say people, you as a person, but also people across the table who are listening. It's all about people. They have to believe in you, that you're entrepreneur, and some entrepreneurial traits identified are very important on the next slide. And they start with integrity. You should prove that you have integrity, passion, you have experiences, the knowledge that you have. So you have to prove that you have these things, even though it's very short. But you should give him that you have a majority of these, that you understand what's going on, and that you are the entrepreneur who is realistic, who has a vision, who is committed to do this, and who can lead this effort to make it a success and deliver those sales and promised returns to the investor. And then after that, what else is very important? I use this analogy of kisses. Keep it smooth, strong evidence, and simple. That's why you only have 90 seconds. So smooth, strong evidence. It has to be, you have to do it professionally. It's all about people, right? So you have to appear, just next slide. It's all about people. You have to be professional. You have to keep it simple and be consistent. This is the part of smooth. It has to flow. Right? You cannot say, I'm going to own 10% of the market share, but then you talk that the industry is 1 billion and you're only going to have $100,000 in gross sales. It's conflicting, and it doesn't give you, you're not consistent. It doesn't give you the credibility you need. And I recommended everybody on the next slide really to look at some venture pitches as well as presentation by Steve Jobs. There's plenty of them on YouTube. He does an amazing job of being straight to the point, explaining what's going on. And then we went into the 6 components, 6 topics you must cover in a venture pitch. The first one is introduction and the wow factor. Next slide, Jim, please. Right, so I'm giving you some templates here, and all this information is also was sent to you. Megan emailed last week, I believe, some links to the 90-second pitch, as well as some presentations he had in the past. So here you want to wow the audience. You want to tell a story, tell an important fact that will grab their attention and make them pay more attention to you. Then you go to the value proposition. What is the problem or need that you're addressing? You want to quantify the customer pain and gain. Next is really telling about why you're so unique, what makes you better than somebody else, why should they invest in you and not in other businesses and other entrepreneurs. Then once you tell, okay, this is a solution, this is how unique, now you also have to show that there's a compelling need, that there's enough people that are willing and able to buy a product. So you talk about the market, the size, how many revenues you can have, what sector you're going to go after, what region you're going to cover. then you're going to use an example of your customer to to prove, or to this case, that this is a cool business because according to this customer, they prefer this, this, and that. Right? You want to quantify the gain as well, and then the final slide or final component is the numbers. Right? Where you talk about your projected gross revenues and numbers by which year you share your gross sales, your profit, what your ask is, exit strategy, and the return you plan to give your investors, and so on. So that's in a nutshell the guide. Professionally, dress appropriately. If you have a presentation, use remote control. However, for most venture pitches, you don't use a PowerPoint presentation. Hand out financials or executive summary. Do it after you're done, after you've seen that the individual has interest. Don't read your speech and never look at the screen, even if you have notes on the screen and back in front of you. Even if sometimes you're standing in front of a computer screen, do not look at the screen. Look at the audience. If you're directly sitting across the table from an investor or in an elevator with an investor, look the person in the eyes. Show confidence. Show a smile. Be yourself. All right. So these are some guidelines for doing a successful venture pitch. One that's asking, can we have access to the slides? Yes, of course. Just email me. I'll be happy to share those with you. M as a Mary, T as a Tom, I-H-I-C as a cat, syr.edu. If you Google my name, you can find me on the IBMF. All my contact information is there. One that's asking, can you speak more about exit strategy? Exit strategy could be that in year 5, I'm planning to sell the company for the net present value of $20 million, and you as an investor owning 20% equity will get $4 million once I exit the business. Or my exit strategy is to continue the business and start acquiring more businesses. So I'm going to do merger acquisitions. So whatever you plan to do as an exit strategy, by thinking, okay, I have sustained the business, what is the next step? That would be it. But most of the people think about exit strategies, exiting the business, selling the business, or making it making a public company, selling shares, and so on. So whatever that is, you want to share with your, you want to use that in your financials. If you have an exit strategy, not everybody has an exit strategy. You don't have to have an exit strategy if you plan to continue your business for the next 20, 30 years, and you plan to hand it over to your kids. That's perfectly fine. But mostly when we think about exit strategies, that I want to sell the business, and you as an investor will gain profit from me selling the business because you invested and you own 20% equity or 10%, whatever that equity part of the investor would be. Any other questions?
Mirza, can you hear me still?
Yes.
This is Wanda again. Yes, I have another question. So there's several competitions coming up, and the different ones have different. The different competitions offer different pools of money available. So we know how much we need to start up our business. Do we speak to it seems like we have to know our audience, we know where we are, so we need to speak to the amount that we want to start up our business versus the amount they're offering.
Let's say you need $100,000 and the competition, the first prize is $20,000. You have to say, I will need, in order to make this business a success, I will need $100,000, of which I plan to use $20,000 from this competition to leverage it. It's going to give me credibility also to raise money or to get funding with an SBA backed up loan, because SBA only does 75% of whatever money you're asking for. So you can say, hey, I'm going to get $75,000 from the SBA, $20,000 from this competition, and $5,000 myself. So you can show, look, I have credibility, I know what it takes to get a loan, and this is how I plan to obtain the funding. If you don't win the competition, the question might be, so later on, they might ask you, so how do you, if you don't get to $20,000, how do you plan to get it? You know, come up with solution, like plan A, B, C, and D. What do you want to do? But if it's only going to take you $10,000 to start a business and the price is $20,000, say, look, I really need 10,000 to start a business. However, the 10 will enable me to put extra 10,000 into marketing to make this more successful. Or I'm just giving you some hypothetical examples of what you can do.
Thank you. That's very good. Then the other question is, with the VWise competition coming up and the EBV one, generally after doing your pitch, are you able to share, or do you recommend sharing? I know that we already submit, or beforehand we submit the executive summary and other documents. Should we prepare as well to have those in hand and present to the judges after we do the pitch if we're selected also?
I would not share in the pitch here. If they're interested, you can ask them if they'd like to look at it, if they want to maybe invest in your business. So have those available and ready, and say at the end, when you talk to the judges, if they want to learn more about the business, that's something you want to hand out. But since this is not really you going to an angel investor asking for money or investor asking for money, you don't have to give it to them, because you want to give to those folks that you directly targeting going to them for asking for funds. I don't know if that answers your question.
I think so. I think so.
For the, let's say, EBV business plan competition, you'll be submitting your business plan anyway. So
Right.
they'll have all these. The only thing what I would recommend is, let's say you submit your business plan today and your financials change. You made some changes in your financials. By the time you do presentation, I highly recommend bringing just a set of new financials with you to explain to them and elaborate, okay, because you're most probably going to show in a PowerPoint slide something different than what's in the business plan, and then you can relate, so, okay, I have brought new sets of financials for you. You can hand those out before you begin your presentation, just to make it relevant for them to explain, this is why they have changed, and you have new sets of financials.
Good. Thank you. That was helpful.
Yeah, so there's two questions from Angela Cody that are up in the chat function right now.
We can do a PowerPoint for the pitch. There is no PowerPoint for the pitch for the VWise. So there's no PowerPoint pitch. Typically, you don't do a pitch, the PowerPoint presentation for a pitch competition. However, if you do have a product, I highly recommend bringing that product with you and kind of showcasing it. We had one lady who was doing she calls it cupcakes. She was doing cupcakes from beer, so she brought some samples and she brought the beer to say, okay, to make it relevant, these are cupcakes, they made with beer, right? There was another lady thing, she did curtains. You can bring some examples of the curtains or dresses. If you think it's going to help you with your pitch, if it's going to help them visualize what your product is. But because you only have 90 seconds, the PowerPoint presentation will distract them from looking at you and listening to you, because you only have 90 seconds. Again, you only have 90 seconds. And I highly recommend stand in front of the mirror and time yourself and pitch. Try to do it now without preparation and see how long it's going to take you to communicate, what we're asking you to communicate, and then kind of narrow it down and try to do a paragraph for each one of those, and then be yourself. Don't try to memorize word for word. As long as you know the most important components of that, most important information, hit that and you'll be fine. And it's important that you are yourself, because remember the 10 traits that we identified previously on the PowerPoint slides. Those can be only evident if you're being yourself. So be yourself, be professional, but still yourself, to show that you have that passion. And then there was a second question. You say you can give handouts and use PowerPoint presentation. So the question is, we say that we can give handouts and use PowerPoint presentation during the VWise competition. Do not use PowerPoint presentation. You will not have ability to do it. We don't provide that support. Be yourself. Do the pitch. If you have product that you want to showcase, you're welcome to bring it with you. If you want to hand out afterwards executive summary to the judges, you're welcome to do so, but I believe they will already have those, so there's no need for that. However, if you do venture pitch, 90-second elevator pitch, you run into me in the elevator and you think there would be value for me to learn about your venture, and you pitch it to me and I say, look, I'm busy, but I like to learn more, you can give me an executive summary. Or if you know I invite you for a venture pitch round at our local seed fund, and you have 90 seconds to pitch a group of angel investors, then you can do a pitch and then give everybody executive summary. So that's when you want to give the handout. Again, know your audience, know the need, know what the goal is of your venture pitch, and be prepared for that. That's why I mentioned previously on the slides. Be prepared. Know what your goal is, know your audience, and prepare yourself well for that 90 seconds. Because it can change your world completely. And you can change your world in 90 seconds. So Belinda asked, are you talking about the PowerPoint screen if you're giving the PowerPoint presentation? Yes, if you're giving PowerPoint presentation, but also sometimes folks, depending where you are, some folks bring their iPad with them or iPad, and they put it in front of them, kind of as a guide in case they forget something. And if you look at that screen, you're looking at the screen, you're reading it mostly, or trying to memorize it. It kind of shows that you're not well prepared. That's why I also have this. You don't read your speech and never look at the screen, whatever screen there is. Some folks put the phone on it in front of them and they kind of follow it. Try to have the eye contact with the audience as much as you can.
And Megan did share the link for the full guidelines for those of you who are participating live and can see the chat function. Please click that for the full guidelines. You should have been shared that link previously, so please refer to that for all kind of setup and logistics questions.
Yeah, and Megan also brings up a good point that even when you record your pitch, when you do it over online, don't read like this, because I can see that you're reading it. Focus here on the camera so people can see you. That they want to pay attention to you. What you talk about. They want to watch you reading something. They want to watch you speaking something passionately that you're passionate about, right? And that comes up and you face the camera and you're excited and you know what's going on. You have a flow and that stuff. So kisses, keep it simple, smooth, right? And keep it smooth. Have a strong evidence and make it simple.
Okay, we will just hold for a few minutes just to see if any additional questions do come through. But as a reminder for all of you who are watching today, we will have office hours next Tuesday at 1 o'clock, which will be 9/9, and then we will have office hours on 9/17. So I recommend rewatch this presentation from Mirza today. If you have specific questions, please bring them, and he'd be happy to address them. We had another question come up from Medina.
She's asking to put a still photo on the screen. And then also there's another question. My product is web-based service. Do you have any specific tips for pitching that kind of business? Mara Hurwitz. Again, the key is go back to the right, make a wow factor, wow the audience, grab the attention, and explain what problem or what need is your website addressing, how unique is it compared to anything else that's existing out there, how many users of that website exist in the world, potential users, and then really talk about the numbers, how you will make money. And typically for website-based businesses, the biggest question is usually how do you make money. So if you can address that question in your venture pitch, you get the attention from your audience. Because a lot of web-based businesses, especially ones trying to focus on social networking, they struggle with proving how they're going to make money. I hope that helps. But you follow the same guidelines as any of the other ones. The only thing is you cannot showcase, and you wouldn't be able to showcase it in 90 seconds without really hurting yourself, because you're gonna leave out so many other important information that we covered in 6 components of a venture pitch.
There's a question for you again. This is Wanda.
Yes, Wanda.
Wondering about your office hours. Is during those hours, will there be an opportunity to share our screen if we want to, if we have an example? Or should we, if we have specific questions, can we send them beforehand maybe in preparation for the office hours?
We can do both. If you're using Google Hangout, you have the share screen option.
Okay.
It's already on in here, and if you need any assistance with that, we can help. And I'm sure because it's Google Hangout, if you don't know how to do it, you can Google it as well. So
Okay.
that's the thing about Google products.
Yeah, thank you.
Sure, thank you.
And Mirza, we might want to just address Medina's question on the still photo.
Can you put the still photo up on the screen? That you mean big screen? Let's not do it because we have only 90 seconds. We have a large audience, and we don't usually do it. So I don't think we will do it even for VWise. The key is again, be yourself. Attention should be on you. Don't get distracted. Don't get the audience distracted for something. Get all attention to you. They want to look at you. They want to listen to you. They want to observe you. They want to see that passion. They want to see the professionalism. They want to hear what you have to say. So the less distraction, the better. All the really PowerPoint presentation is later on. Once you get the foot in the door and you can do a formal presentation, then use PowerPoint presentations, all the visual aids, what you can get, videos and that stuff. But for venture pitch, you have 90 seconds, and those are really valuable 90 seconds that the focus should be on you and nothing else. I even recommend people do not bring products with you. If they're not really cool, something innovative that's you can do in 5 seconds to show them and explain how it works, don't even bring it. Because you're going to spend 30 seconds, 45 seconds, even a minute on your product, and you lost the opportunity to talk about everything else that you need to talk in your venture pitch. Sorry, I thought this, can we put still photo up on the screen? I thought she was looking for us to put something on here right now on the slide, so that's why I didn't address it, and I apologize. Mike, thanks for bringing it up and explaining.
So at this point, I'm not seeing any additional questions that come through. As we have mentioned, we have 2 opportunities for office hours next Tuesday and the following Tuesday, the 9th and the 17th. For all of you who have requested the slides, Megan should have your names down, and we can go ahead and get you those. For any of you ladies who are out there watching this after the fact, you can just send us in an email if you want the hard copy, but you will have full access to the PowerPoint presentation in the recorded session. So you'll be able to see all the content that's out there. Okay, so with that being said, I think we will wrap this up. Mirza, thank you for taking the time to lead this initial hangout. We'll look forward to seeing you in the weeks to come. To all of you ladies who are developing out your venture pitch, good luck, and we will talk to you soon.
Thanks, everybody. Good luck.
Thank you.